Hi, in the last episode I talked to you about the optimum anchor configuration, about a Spey anchor, how you practice and how to do it rightly wrong, and how an anchor can be too big, too small, and too skipping, and too blah blah blah. And there's of course much more casting problems. For example, things like pulling behind the body, also called hooking, and then hooking yourself or your fly rod while making a forward cast. Stuff like this here, yeah. And we talked about the anchor structure, form and shape of the line in a setup, but we were not talking about anchor location. And where you want your anchor is under the rod tip, and they say a rod tip away roughly. And you do not want it as big as this one here, or not such a sloppy cast with such a big anchor. The bigger the anchor is, the more precise your casting move, your loading move, if you so want, has to be, because the more line of the water you have to pull off. That's why a forward switch cast, when the anchor is rightly located and nicely executed, like this one here, comes out very easy because you don't have to pull on much of that anchor. With a big anchor like this here, you have to pull more on the line a little bit to get that lifted. So different anchor configurations also require different energy inputs, if you so. Let me remind you of the rattle trigger. Get yourself one, practice with it a little bit, and feed me back what you think about especially these things here, like anchor sizes and rattling in conjunction or in cross-reference. Nevertheless, I was on about anchor location, and there is a problem, and that is crossing the path of the line, or crossing actually the future path of the line with the current path of the line. And if this happens, it leads to casting faults such as this one here, for example, that can also turn out still in a beautiful cast if you know how to. What I want to show you is this here. Usually the problems occur with anchor location if you're going across the body. Say this is your downstream direction and you want to cast to over there, and you need to pull that line across and around your body to get your anchor to here. I show you this in an example of a real dirty cruise spade. You want to have all your line sort of here, that you can make an anchor in order to throw it to over there. Crossbody situation. In that situation I had just with the snake roll, it is the anchor and the line is on the same side of the body. There's no crossbody situation. Same side of the body anchor, crossbody side of the anchor. And it doesn't matter where the current is coming from. If this would be downstream, I would have my crossbody anchor on that side. Just take that. I like that in my teachings, crossbody anchor and not crossbody anchor. Okay? So if this here is downstream and I need my anchor on that side, there's different solutions to this. Yeah? One is, for example, an airborne single spey cast. Another solution would be a waterborne snap piece. Both casts have a crossbody anchor, and it doesn't matter where you're coming from. If I would be on the other river side, I would make the single spey either off my off shoulder or with my other hand, set up And I would make the snap T also on the crossbody side. And usually people have more difficulties to pull that anchor over the crossbody side, or you see it especially with very long and longer spey lines. There is a so-called principle in spey casting that says the anchor has to be 180 degree of the opposite side of the forward cast. So that's why I talk about anchor location now sophisticated. So in this roll cast situation, that anchor location or that anchor direction, the location also has a direction, okay? And that direction is 180 degrees opposite of where my forward cast is going or is supposed to. This is actually not always the case. There is spey casts can be executed with a distinct 90-degree anchor like this one here, but to start with, keep it with the 180-degree principle. But it is actually not really true, that 180-degree principle. What you actually need is enough line and mass under and behind the rod tip so that you can make that cast to the other side and not get snagged. Because if you don't have enough line across your body, you make your forward cast and this will happen. Okay? And nobody wants that ever. I'm trying to make things in general much easier for you. So as soon as you're working with current, the current is always pulling a line only in one direction. And it doesn't matter what side of the river you stand, you have always the line either on your good side, on your strong side of your body, or pulled down on the weak side of your body. And accordingly, and also accordingly to the wind, you want to be able to change this anchor location, the body side of the anchor location. Okay, so I have a roll cast that goes off the right side, and I've also a roll cast that goes off the left side. The anchor location changes according, but it stays symmetric, if you see. So my roll cast anchor of my left shoulder looks very the same like the roll cast anchor of my right shoulder. The same with the switch cast or whatever cast you take. You want it symmetric. The mind likes symmetry. And casting does too. Vibration in general, I think, likes symmetry a little bit. Anyway, in the first part I told you about anchor shape and form of the fly line, and I'll do another extended part on sinking lines about it. And here in the second part we have to talk again about anchor location and direction. If you watch the pro competition spey casters with the super long heads, you see when they make a single spey, for example, their anchor is never aligned. It is still in front of their bodies, but the whole belly is behind them. And that allows them, while this line unrolls or pulls through, or whatever you want to call that, on the forward cast, that this anchor gets lifted and doesn't get stuck. The same is with the snake roll also the case. But that is because they use such long heads. So in general, I recommend to stick to the 180-degree principle, but it is important to realize that especially on your downstream side, you do not have to have this all the time, like this here, if you have enough mass in the backcast to pull that anchor out. But you can only understand that if you practice these limits. Because of course, take a bloody L for example, there is a limit to it from where, oh, that was too much, sorry. For example, with a bloody L, there's a limit to where it doesn't work well. Huh? On this side. Too much. And once you try to reproduce these faults on purpose, you will also tune into the system in a different way, because you learn by mistakes. That's the only, doing it rightly wrong. Check it out. With the Spey cast and a bloody L in this case. Here, beautiful bloody L that doesn't come out of the water. Ha! Beautiful sucker of a bad cast. Let's make another one. Oh, yoo-hoo! This is a total different approach that positive reinforcement casting follows, and that is making these mistakes and even enjoying them. Here, give you a big old snap tee with a too big anchor and the rod tip hooked and pulled behind the body and a terrible forward cast. Another one on the other side. Oh, too big of an anchor. Pulled behind the body. Doing it rightly wrong with the Spey anchor, 2 episodes, anchor location, anchor direction. Practice a little bit with this. Try to get snagged up a little bit. It's very important to snag up and to tangle up with control, so that you can learn from the mistakes you're making, because this is how we learn. Thank you very much for watching. Tune in again. And please do not forget, we do not own the water owns us. Also, subscribe to the channel, give it a like and share the knowledge. Peace out, rattle the devil. Look at the how. GoPro, stop recording. GoPro, stop recording. GoPro, stop recording. GoPro, stop recording.